alright directors, we're going to make a video on how to create an assignment if you don't know how to do that already. So the first thing we're going to do is we can go over here to find music. You can use these links here to automatically apply filters if you don't know what you're looking for. The link for method books. We're just going to create an assignment with a piece of music. So we're going to use that chorale and shaker that we were talking about earlier. It's a great piece of music, by the way. I'm going to click on that, make sure it's the one we want here with our overview we talked about in our basics video. Again, if there were more than one movement, you could do that here. Details is the copyright permission. So you're going to want to this time click on assign. If you aren't sure what you want to pick out of it, maybe you left your scores in your band room because you're trying to get out of there, or maybe you grabbed a bunch of scores but you forgot this one. You can click open. You can look at all the parts individually. But to assign, we're going to click on assign. If there are multiple movements again here, you could select those, and we're going to click assign again. It's going to load up everything. So again, we see our picture of our piece, that particular title. Then we've got the assignment type. So for this assignment, there are 3 preloaded assignments and perform the entire piece. Or you can create a custom assignment. So just to show you kind of the things you can do with a custom assignment, let's choose assignment number 1 here. This is already preloaded in. I did not create this. But the predefined assignment, you can see for each of the parts over here. Second trombone is going to play from bar 4, beat 1, exactly at 153. So there's 3 ways you can do your tempos in your custom setup. You can have the students do any tempo. That means they get to choose what tempo they submit to you. You can do an at least tempo. So maybe you don't want performance speed, but you want them to at least be, let's say, 80 beats per minute if it's supposed to be 120 on a technical section. So they can do faster than that, but they can't do less than and still submit. Or you can do exactly and they can't be higher or lower and still submit. Then you see the instructions are listed here of what they need to be paying attention to. Obviously, smart music's not going to catch things like dynamics and articulation. It's just looking for the right pitch at the right time. So that's where you can go back and listen to those assignments afterward and provide any feedback on that particular part of things. Maybe use a rubric to evaluate these instead of just what smart music has set up in here. Anyway, so that kind of shows that assignment. We're going to go into custom so we can look at those options. So again, generic instructions that every student is going to get. This could be anything from please make sure that the My Part feature is turned off, because what I found with a couple students just on accident is they were struggling with a measure and I didn't hear them play, but Smart Music gave them credit because they had the My Part selected and their volume was turned up enough that the microphone heard the pre-recorded music and gave them credit for those notes that they did not play at all. So make sure that My Part is turned off and go give a listen to your students just to make sure that there's no creativity, we shall say, in use during this, because if anything, students are definitely capable of being creative and problem solving when they want to be, especially to speed up assignments. So again, allow metronome, accompaniment, and My Part's turned off here. For practice, My Part's great because they can then work on matching professional sound on their instruments, especially for the younger students. That's really important, even for the older students when they're practicing, but not for the actual assignment. Then you can select cursor type. So the beat cursor follows the beat of the piece. The note cursor follows the notes as they go by. The flow is a lot like what you might have seen in, say, Guitar Hero, where it flows across the screen, nice and steady across the measure, just kind of to help keep the eyes. And you can do no cursor. I like to have the beat cursor so they can see how the notes are aligned inside the measure. And you can put it to any so that they can choose how it works best for them. Measure highlight just highlights the measure that they're in while the cursor is going past. Again, that just helps keep students focused on what they're doing right there, because there are additional measures per screen. And for some students, that's not a big deal. Other students, that overstimulates and can cause them to get distracted and look at other things coming up. So that may be something helpful for students as you differentiate your instruction. You could assign this particular section as a sight reading example. You can click that on, and it provides study time for you, for your students. It'll only give them 45 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever you deem necessary for it, and then they play it for you. But again, we're just working on a piece of music. For assessment mode, this is mostly towards percussionists, and to be honest, this is a place where I think smart music could continue to get better. I'm not sure how, because I'm not a developer, but the percussion side of things seems to be less accurate than the wind areas. I think it's just because of the attack and the way the computer is able to pick up on it. So for percussionists, this allows melodic, so a xylophone or a bell kit at home, and percussion clapping. Again, clapping could be use of a practice pad or sticks on a tabletop. I always tell my kids, make sure they're not going to play on a table their parents are going to get mad at them for leaving tiny dents in. Or you can say allow percussion clapping only. So maybe you just want them to count and clap. Maybe you're doing a rhythm exercise and you want everybody to count and clap together. You could turn that on, and they could do that assignment that way. And then at the bottom you see assessment tolerance. So this is a way you can up the level of difficulty or lower it depending on what level you're teaching. Easy, it's going to allow for a lot of mistakes to occur before it actually docks them any points. Lenient, kind of a little bit more than that. Average is the default setting, and it's pretty good. And then maybe your top ensemble, or maybe it's something that the student should be really good at and you want to make it real strict, so they have to be exactly precise. I've left mine at average as we're kind of getting used to it, the software, even with my top group, so there's not over frustration because they're a millisecond off of a notes attack, so that way they feel like they're getting some things accomplished. So you can select that there as well. So again, we can put our instructions here. We've got our custom assignment. Now we click the next button. It's going to load up a part here, because you see same setup for all parts. So you could do a global assignment. Let's see the piccolo part here. Do a global assignment, again, out of a technique book or something that's really great for. And obviously saves time because you don't have to do stuff for every single instrument. Let's say a piece of music, the tubas may not play here at the beginning. So if we go to custom setup, that's going to bring up this list of instruments over here. And I can choose what part I'm looking at as it loads up here. So we see this is well the flute part here. So now we can look in this window, we can scroll the whole piece of music and see what's going on. We can toggle our pages here. And then here we see from, to, and tempo. So we can set that to start at bar 1, beat number 1. I also can pull this right here, I think, and put it right here. It's going to change my starting point. I can also just click, and it's going to tell me where I'm at. But I need to adjust this here to whatever measure that's going to be. So we can set that up as measure 1. Maybe I just want them to work, my first flutes to work on this introduction section from A, or from beginning all the way up to A. So that's bar 2, 4, 6, 8. So we'll change that to bar 8. And we want to go to the end of the measure, so we're going to say B4. And maybe exactly, here's those options again, at least or any. So this is not super fast, so we're going to try and keep this exactly 90 beats per minute. You can add specific instructions for your flute player here. Once you finish that assignment, you can click on to another instrument and continue this process. You can zoom in a little bit, maybe if it's hard to read what's going on. You can hit play if you want to hear a sample of what's going on. So again, you can toggle to any portion of the example. Maybe as we scroll down here super fast, you see these 16th notes in this repetitive part here. Maybe you want them to practice this 8VA a few times. Keep an assignment short helps students keep from getting too frustrated. There's also a loop feature on their page where they can loop the repetitions back to back for endurance use. So I would encourage you not to do an entire piece too often, because it just takes a lot of time. And if a kid's playing for 3 minutes and they get one red note at the end, now they have to do the whole assignment again. That can be quite frustrating for a student who's trying to hit 100%. If you give them 4 bars, it's a little easier, or maybe per phrase or per melody or harmonic series. There's a lot of different ways you can break down your exercises. So If you can create that this way, we can go to our, see if it'll let us go on. Yeah. So then you can set up your criteria. I've just been doing this generic one, assessment grade, and that again literally is just, did they play the right pitch at the right time. But that'll give them an assessment grade. You can add the rest of your rubric here by using the plus button. You can edit, or you can add to rubric. I've been doing it out of a scale of 100, so it matches up with our grade book. You can have it grade the assignment automatically, or you can toggle this off so you have to manually grade that. And then we can go on as it saves. The tough thing here is if you messed up something in your template, you have to start all over again. I haven't found a way yet to go back and adjust the template itself. So make sure you take your time on this part, and if you know how to do that, feel free to leave us a comment down below the video to help others out. And I'm going to click Yes, Assign Now, so I can assign that to different groups. If you have two groups, maybe you're making an assignment for a method book, you can actually assign every single class right here. You just click on every single one of them and add them to this bar here. You see that they'll assign now, or you can set that to be assigned later, so you can plan ahead. And then on that day, you don't have to remember to launch it. It's automatically going to do it on its own. Allow late submissions, so you can set this up to extend the window of time that they can submit those assignments. Assign to all students. If you just are assigning maybe a clarinet technique to your clarinet players, you can click Assign to some students, and it's only going to send it out to those students for the class. It'll let you select that here. So let's see. We use that. Okay. So it'll let us assign to one student out of the 25 for that class. And if you select more classes, it'll give you more students to pick from here. I'm going to select my tutorial so my students don't freak out. And this just tells me I don't have any students signed up yet. You can set all this stuff up as your students are enrolling in your class, and then as soon as they enroll, you can they'll automatically see that and get started there. So we're going to click the blue button here for next, and now it's been assigned. And I can go to my tutorial class here, click on assignments, and I can see that I have crawl shaker dance assignments here, one for one student and one for the whole class. So that's just a quick way to make those. There's some options available to you here. You can see the grades as percent or points. You can do it by grading period, where you can set it up to match your grade book. And there's a way to export, which may end up being helpful. You can download to Excel. Maybe that's easier for you to process the information there. Or download to CSV, which is a pretty generic way to upload and download information to and from other data sources. I haven't tested this out with our Canvas yet, which is what we use in our district, but potential to be helpful down the road. So I hope that is helpful for you as you continue to navigate the Smart Music platform. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. See you on the cloud.